Ben Shapiro, a prominent conservative commentator and founder of the Daily Wire, famously said, "Facts don't care about your feelings." This phrase has resonated widely, particularly with those who believe in the power of data and evidence-based arguments. But what happens when the facts themselves come into question? Recently, there have been several high-profile instances where key institutions had to retract or revise data, sparking concerns about the reliability of the information we rely on to shape public policy. For conservatives, this growing skepticism about the trustworthiness of data is not just a passing concern, it's a fundamental challenge to the way we engage with the world. Let's start with an example that has fueled this skepticism, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS. Just recently, the BLS had to revise a jobs report by millions. This isn't just a minor adjustment, it's a significant change that could alter the narrative about the economy's health. For conservatives, this kind of revision only serves to delegitimize data points that liberals often use to argue for their policies. It raises the question, if these reports can be so dramatically wrong, how can we trust any data coming from these institutions? But it's not just the BLS. Here are a few other institutions that have faced criticism for misleading or incorrect data, often cited by Democrats. One, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the CDC made several revisions to its guidance on mask usage, social distancing, and transmission rates. For instance, in March 2020, the CDC initially advised against mask use for the general public, only to reverse its guidance weeks later. This created public confusion and distrust in the reliability of their recommendations. 2. World Health Organization, the WHO. They faced similar backlash for its early handling of the COVID-19 outbreak, particularly its delayed acknowledgement of human-to-human transmission. Critics argue this delayed global response measures, leading to a faster spread of the virus. 3. The New York Times. Known for its influential reporting, the New York Times has had to issue corrections and retractions on several major stories, such as its coverage of the Steele dossier and its role in the Russia investigation. These retractions have been used by conservatives to argue that the publication has a bias that impacts the accuracy of its reporting. 4. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Under both Democratic and Republican administrations, the EPA has been accused of using selective data to support regulatory policies. For example, in 2015, the EPA faced criticism over its handling of the Gold King mine spill, where they initially downplayed the environmental impact before later acknowledging the extent of the damage. 5. Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. The FBI's handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails, and later, the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election, has led to accusations of political bias. Many conservatives point to the inconsistencies in how these investigations were conducted as evidence of a lack of impartiality. 6. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. NOAA has been criticized for allegedly manipulating climate data to support more aggressive climate change regulations, such as in 2015, when they were accused of adjusting historical temperature data to support a narrative of global warming acceleration. 7. Public Health England, now the UK Health Security Agency. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Public Health England was criticized for its inconsistent data on COVID-19 case counts and testing methods, which some argue influenced policy decisions and public perception. These examples add fuel to the conservative perspective that many institutions might be more interested in advancing a particular narrative rather than presenting unbiased facts. In addition to these data inaccuracies, there's another layer to this distrust: the perception that many institutions have become woke. Let's look at some examples. First, corporate diversity training. Companies like Coca-Cola faced backlash after leaked diversity training materials suggested that employees should try to be less white, a directive some conservatives viewed as divisive rather than inclusive. Next, educational institutions. Some universities have adopted critical race theory and other progressive frameworks into their curriculums. For example, Princeton University announced it would require undergraduates to take courses that focus on the histories, politics, and cultures of non-white peoples, which some see as prioritizing social justice over academic rigor. Then, media companies. CNN has been criticized for what conservatives see as a bias against conservative viewpoints, particularly during the Trump administration, where coverage was seen as disproportionately negative. Moving on to tech companies. Facebook and Twitter have been accused of censoring conservative content, such as when Twitter suspended the New York Post's account following its report on Hunter Biden's laptop, a move that many conservatives viewed as politically motivated. Professional associations also come under scrutiny. The American Medical Association, AMA, released a guide in 2021 suggesting that physicians should consider social justice issues when diagnosing and treating patients, which some conservatives argue goes beyond the medical field's purview and into activism. The entertainment industry is not exempt either. Disney faced criticism for firing Gina Carano from The Mandalorian after she posted content on social media that was seen as controversial by some, but defended by others as free speech. Lastly, non-governmental organizations, NGOs. NGOs like Amnesty International have been accused by conservatives of promoting a progressive agenda that aligns more closely with leftist politics, such as when they criticize the U.S. government's stance on immigration under Trump. These examples reinforce the belief among many conservatives that institutions are not just presenting biased data, they're actively engaged in promoting a particular worldview. So, what can be done about this growing distrust? One approach could be increasing transparency and accountability in data reporting. Institutions need to be more upfront about their methodologies and limitations. Additionally, there should be a renewed focus on ensuring that data is used to inform rather than manipulate public opinion. Ben Shapiro might say now, when data becomes unreliable, gut instinct is all that's left. But we need more than gut feelings to navigate complex societal issues. A possible path forward is fostering a culture of critical thinking where all data is scrutinized regardless of the source. After all, trust in institutions is essential for a functioning democracy. In the end, while Ben Shapiro's original quote about facts and feelings rings true, the growing distrust in data complicates things. For many conservatives, this distrust has turned into a reliance on personal beliefs and anecdotal evidence, as they feel left with little choice. To restore faith in facts, institutions must strive for greater transparency and impartiality. Only then can we move beyond this divide and engage in truly informed discussions.